invites criticism, if anything. Plus, the hijab's a concept, not a scarf.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hi, hey, hello. Subhanallah. Allahumma barak, sister. I have never, ever. Okay, listen. If you know me personally, if you're in my community of sisters, if you're a friend of mine, you most likely know my take on the conversation behind hijab. I've posted a couple of times on here about it, but I really don't go deep into it because I do believe that there takes an incredible level of tawakkul, control over your lower nafs, a deep understanding, and you have to have a respect for what hijab, Quranic hijab, Islamic hijab actually is. Like the actual hijab barrier between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and this dunya, between us and this dunya as Muslim men and women. I say every single time, it breaks my heart that the concept of hijab has been broken down and dumbed down into a head covering and the way that a woman dresses, and that Muslim women have been completely dumbed down to as well, whether or not there is a head covering and how they wear that head covering. When you look at a convert woman's page, a new convert to Islam, you're not going to see a lot of conversation about understanding salah. You're not going to see conversations around the 5 pillars of Islam. You're going to see immediately, where's your hijab, sister? When I talk about my hijab, I talk about my practice with hijab beginning as day one as a new Muslim, alhamdulillah, which was starting to recognize parts of my actions and the people I surrounded myself with were immodest, and I needed to put a veil between me and them. It had nothing to do with my clothing at all. I say this all the time. Whenever I first came to Islam, I was completely separated from social media, alhamdulillah, and I believe that's a huge reason why I am in the place that I am in as a Muslima, which is still struggling, by the way, subhanallah, all the time, alhamdulillah. That's just like life. It's not linear. Practice, faith, deen, it's not linear. I can tell you right now, though, if I would have been subjected to what I see in my comment section and other women's comment sections from the beginning of my journey, I would not have been here. I would not have taken that shahada, and I would not be the person that I am. Subhanallah, I would not. I see Muslim women turning on each other all the time, hijabi, non-hijabi. What does that even mean, hijabi? A barrier-y? I don't, like, what? 7 years as a Muslim, alhamdulillah, and my practice with hijab, with Islamic hijab, has grown, subhanallah, every single year, day by day, in new ways. And it has nothing to do with other people and their opinions, and it has everything to do with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and my relationship and my efforts and their intervening on me and my guidance. I have people who are constantly asking me, because they're looking into Islam, like, hey sister, can you talk about like your experience with hijab? And I'm like, no, not really, not on here, not publicly. Join my community and we'll talk about it. DM me and we'll talk about it. It's because I absolutely refuse to come to a faith that gives me as a woman so much power, that fills my heart with so much joy, that has so much substance when it comes to my spirit and my mental health, and that my physical being, while is important, it's not the number one. It's not even a pillar of my faith. I won't be dumbed down to whether or not I cover in the way that every single person in my comment section believes I should cover, which, by the way, would be 500 billion different ways, because like I would never make anybody happy. That's never been my goal. I'm not a hijabi. I'm not a covered woman. I'm a Muslima, and I am so grateful for my other Muslimas who do the work and who support one another and recognize this journey. Posting about this topic at all is terrifying, because like you're gonna get shredded apart. And I've seen so many videos the last couple of weeks of converts, not people who haven't converted yet, and they are struggling right now because of the haram police. And so like this concept right here, this conversation, I think is just so crucial. It's so important. In the time of the Prophet ﷺ, Islam didn't just come and give women rights. Like, it's so much deeper than that. Islam made women human beings. It gave them humanity. It didn't give them a headscarf and say, cover up. Anyways, jazakallah khairan, sister, for having this conversation and being one of the first people I've seen say it in a way that is just constantly spinning around in my head. And, you know, thank you for also inspiring me and giving me the courage to talk about it a little bit more as well, because it's genuinely something that like I steer clear from on here. But Allahu alam. You can see I'm shaking. Inshallah khair, inshallah this reaches the right people, because I feel like qadr of Allah is always right and the right people always are brought along. So, ma salama.